Be smart about your decisions and move strategic. Don't try to think about something and then hurry up and move on it. Think about it, map it out, and then the end results, you'll be able to succeed and be able to look back and be like, damn, I'm glad I moved how I move. I move slow, and you want to be efficient. Like you just came from the computer field. Thought I wanted that job. I thought I wanted to go that direction when it comes to the working field. But God had a different outlook for me. I ended up becoming a truck driver, all because I made my mind up that I was going to quit my job. But along with quitting my job, I end up waking up one day realizing that I can't just quit my job just to quit and have nothing to fall back on. And I also had a second job when I worked in a company that I worked for. And it was crazy because I worked for FedEx. I used to go in at FedEx at like 1 in the morning, 1 or 2:30, something like that. It was like either 2:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. The worst. Not to say it was a real bad job. It's not that it's a real bad job. It's a strenuous job. It's labor intensive. You definitely gonna have muscle pains. You're gonna be fatigued because it's a job that requires a lot of labor. But it built a mindset for me to be able to hustle. And that was one thing I learned about working 2 jobs. It taught me how to hustle, and it taught me that if you really want something, you got to work hard at it. Even working hard at it came with obstacles of just getting up in the middle of the night, tired, fatigued. I even had a time where as though I was on my way to work, and I even started dozing off to the point where as though the cop got behind me and I never even noticed that he was behind me. He pulled me over going over the bridge, and I was going into Jersey, coming from Philly, and I was on my way to the part-time gig, and he said he followed me over the bridge and almost a mile and something down the road, and he said I'd never even budge when he threw his lights on. And it was crazy because I was that sleepy. So you even know the sacrifices of just being tired, fatigued, and working hard just to get what you want. And at that time, I was working towards to buy my first property. So I had a drive in me because I was working towards something. And that's one of the things about working today that makes it tough. If you're not striving for something, if you're just working just to work, it's not going to do it. It's not going to go right for you because you're going to feel like it's a dead end. So your life is really not going to be a good journey to be on if you're not working towards something. You got to work towards something. I don't care what nobody tell you. If you just going to work just to work, it's going to be a dead end for you. It's going to feel like, I can't keep doing this. But you also got to look at it like this too. When you working to work towards something and the money's not good enough, you're going to have to rock out with a second job. You're going to have to. If you don't do a second job or find another revenue of income to be able to subsidize like whatever you got, like your bills, like for instance, you got rent. My rent at that time, I lived in Manayunk, and my rent at that time for a 1-bedroom was, I believe, $1,250. I had to pay in rent. Had a car note. No, I had 2 cars. I had a 1 car note, and I had another car that was paid off. One of the dumbest mistakes was having 2 cars, 1 with a car note and 1 paid off. That was one of those things where I could say I was definitely living above my means. But back to the story. So When I talk about the obstacles of just like the things of just working 2 jobs, one of the things that you will battle with is going out, having fun time. You're going to have to pick and choose your days that you're going to have fun. Because one of the things about going out having fun is you spend the money. The money you would have made that night, you end up spending. Or you can end up going through 2 or 3 days worth of money just going out in one night just of fun. Taking a date out, you already know how it goes. Like once you go out, you will end up spending triple the money that you would have spent if you stayed in the house. Like sometimes it's just best to sit down, chill, relax, and build your money up. And also, budgeting. Budgeting is one of those things that is hard to do when you don't have a focus and a goal towards what you're trying to do. So that's another thing that's something you do not want to overlook. You do not want to overlook a budgeting. And also, you want to be able to have things to do on the weekend. That's something that you like to do, as far as like chilling with your boys, like going out, hitting up certain spots that's comfortable in your price range. If you start doing things outside of your price range, your budget gonna go crazy, and next thing you know, the first of the month hit, rent is due, and you're gonna be broke or you're gonna be short, and you never want to be short. So you want to stay on the task of just spend on the even playing field to be able to understand where your money is going, and don't be confused to not knowing where your money went, because it's easy to lose track of what's going on when it comes to your finances, so. But back to the part of being a truck driver. Being a truck driver is one of those things where as though I love to do, but it can be time consuming. I work a job where as though I'm hourly, so that's one good thing, that I can have a layover and I'm still getting paid on the clock, my same wage. So for the ones that's over the road, my pop is an over the road driver, so I definitely can say that over the road have its ups and it has its downs. But one thing that I would say about me being a truck driver, I come home every day. Might not come home the same time, but I'm still going to bed at home. And that's the key thing. Having a balance, being able to go home and get up in the morning. At least I know I'm getting up at the same time. I'm able to get up, work out, eat breakfast, make coffee, do all the things that I want to do, and make sure I'm at work at the time that I'm supposed to start. But that's one of those things that in your life, you want to pick something. Hopefully you can find something that you're comfortable doing and it's making good money. But I also do understand the task of what it takes to find a job in a field that pays pretty good. Everybody don't have that option. And I also know what that feels like because I did it. My teen years and my 20s and the early parts of my 30s. Like once I got to around like 30, 31, that's when I made a career change to quit my job. But I didn't just up and quit. I waited. I actually strategized and I thought it out. And then I actually started writing out my plans. And it's crazy because I thought that not writing your stuff down, it does, it really is a waste. Well, I'm going to be real with you. It's not. It's not a waste. I think that when you see something every day and you're looking over it, you start making progress. You start looking into the things that you want to do. When I looked into truck driving, I was like, I wouldn't mind doing that. Because in the computer field, it started getting saturated to the point where as though it was hard to find a job in that field. And by me working for a job that was already helping me with school, I thought it would be easy. But what happens is I started to be stagnated, staying in the same position to the point where I started feeling like I can't grow. The job was basically felt like it was holding me hostage, because now I have to literally let them know how much school is. They write a check, but I have to commit. Once I'm done and I'm done school, I have to stay with them a certain amount of years, and I have to basically commit to whatever position that they give me, because I am now, I'm basically like a slave to the job. Not to say that I'm a real slave, like, but you get what I'm saying. Like I have to commit. And in that time, I started to actually see my life differently, because I started to look at the money I was bringing in at the time I was spending in school, and I was going to a job part-time in the middle of the night. And anyone knows that if you're doing school, that's a job itself. And then not only going home, having to study and still stay up on top of your schoolwork, but then you have to go to bed at a decent time, which is impossible. I cannot go to bed at a decent time. You can't. There's too many things going on. You're basically taking on 3 jobs. And school is really like having 2 jobs. So you're looking at 3 jobs, and then you still thinking that you're going to still be able to progress and take care of the things that you need to take care of, your daily duties, in order to maintain a comfortable life. In the midst of doing that, I end up progressing over to looking into taking up truck driving school. And it was the best choice. But the only obstacle I had that when I started doing truck driver school was how much it costs. That's the part that almost got me. Luckily, I had a couple dollars saved up, and I was able to pay for school out of pocket. Going to school, truck driver school, out of pocket, a lot, I'm not going to say a lot easier, but if you're a person that don't have any money at all, I'm not going to say it's going to put you into a bad financial state, but once they give you the loan, you already know the loan is going to be way more than what you have to pay for out of pocket. I think it was double, damn near double. And it also accumulate interest if you don't pay that back at a certain time. I don't know how it works now, but I really didn't have to worry about that because I paid out of pocket. But it took me 6 months to finish truck driver school, because I was going to school at least 2 times out the week. I'm going to be real, I don't know how I did it. Very little sleep, but I will also miss weeks. I will also miss weeks here and there. I would do schooling I would do parts in Philly, and then I would do parts in Jersey, because it was more comfortable for me, depending on where I had to go to be able to get to certain parts of the city if I was in Jersey or if I was in Philly. And it made more sense for me, like, depending on where you at. And I end up, make a long story short, in the process, in between there, I did end up acquiring a property. So I didn't add that in there, but while I was working a part-time job at FedEx, I did acquire a property in between that. So that was one of the other things too that also helped me make a better transition of being a truck driver, because I ended up getting a property and I had tenants I acquired, and they will pay rent. Of course, they pay rent, and it helped with the mortgage, paid damn near majority of the mortgage. So that helped me out a lot. And like I was saying before, getting some other income outside of your work can help you do miracles. But like I was saying, going into a field that's going to be comfortable for you to be able to obtain a comfortable life, it'll help you move forward in life and make you have a better outlook of your trajectory of where you're trying to go. And I have a kid now. My son is now 6 years old. And I cannot imagine what life would be if I didn't have a certain income that I bring in to be able to take care of my kids. So I do understand that life is tough out here. Even making a pretty decent income is still difficult because electric is high, gas is high, car notes is crazy, rents are silly. I don't even know why rents is this high. I don't even understand how people are able to operate paying these type of rents. But realistically, I do understand because I was once in that bracket, but at the same time, I still have a mortgage. So take it from me. Do not quit your job and don't have a plan already set up, that's sketched in stone. Like, already have everything set up. Because if you don't already have it set up, you're going to be in a bad predicament. Do not quit your job and don't have something already lined up. The best advice I can give you, if you quit a job, is already be working the other job when you already have it. And I can say that one of the methods that I did before was take a week off at a job, take vacation time. If you can, if you set it up right, take vacation time and work this other job, whatever other job that you actually set up for, and see how you like it and see how it works out for you. That way you have that week. But that's only if you set it up right. Other than that, don't set yourself up for failure. Never go out there on a limb, especially in the world that we live in today. You have people struggling so bad to the point they left their jobs and now they can't even find a job. And you're not going back to your old job. They're not taking you. Once you're off the books, they're bringing somebody in to start you from the bottom. And they're not bringing you back. Why bring you back? You left. So, all I can say is, be smart about your decisions and move strategic. Don't try to think about something and then hurry up and move on it. Think about it, map it out, and then the end results, you'll be able to succeed and be able to look back and be like, damn, I'm glad I moved how I moved. I moved slow, and you want to be efficient. Like, you just don't want to just jump out there. And not only that, don't discuss everything with everybody. Sit down sometimes. Sometimes it's best to just sit down and think. Just think. That's all you got to do. Sit down and think. When you sit down and think, you're able to gather your thoughts and you're able to think clearly. And that's how you're going to be able to move. And that's just how life plays out. Life don't go by fast. Life goes by with you being able to think and be able to move accordingly so you can be able to progress in life. So take it from me. Wish you luck.